So it only really is going to work if somehow you're delegating and saving that time, but then you're using that time back to become even smarter and even more high impact with your coaching. If you're using it just to save time, my hypothesis is that we're going to become, increasingly dumber.
In today's conversation, we're going to explore what it truly means to bring behavioral science and psychological rigor into the age of AI in executive coaching. This is The Edge of Human and AI, a Viva la Coaching podcast. We sit right where coaching meets AI, and we're not afraid to ask the uncomfortable questions. We built this show because the coaching landscape is being reshaped by intelligent systems, and the organizations, leaders, and companies shaping that future deserve honest conversations. I'm your host, Rebecca Rutschman. Each week, we'll help you understand how AI is transforming coaching. We discuss leadership development and human growth across organizations. We will help you navigate the ethical and strategic decisions that come with bringing AI into the coaching space. You'll hear from researchers, innovators, and industry leaders, as well as experts who are reimagining what's possible. Whether you're navigating AI for the first time or already building with it, this is where you belong. Follow us now and join us at vivalacoaching.com. Come stand with us at the edge. We're starting our podcast with a special season from the leading voices of the NYU Coaching and Technology Summit 2026. We will bring you bold, unfiltered conversations at the frontier where coaching meets technology and artificial intelligence. Expect real talk, sharp minds, and unfiltered conversations where we dare to ask the difficult questions. I have a wonderful guest today, Dr. Jonathan Kirschner, CEO and founder of AIIR Consulting and a business psychologist who has spent 17 years building a coaching methodology structured enough to scale, yet human enough to let every coach shine. We'll discover how AI is already woven into AIIR's practice, why the biggest opportunity lies not in efficiency, but in sustaining behavioral change over the long term. And hear one of the most important warnings I've come across from anyone building in this space right now. So thank you so much for joining me today, Jonathan, for some of the first episodes for our new podcast. I'm very thrilled to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Rebecca. Great to be on the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for joining. You developed the AIIR method and you're running AIIR now.
Yes.
And assessment, insight, implementation, reinforcement. What was missing from coaching before you did that? And what does that framework now change?
Yeah, so I developed the AIIR method in 2009. Coaching was certainly a thing then and popular. It's gone through various stages of maturity and popularity since then. But one thing that was clear when I decided this made sense to do and roll out was that while there was no shortage of coaching at the time, it was there was a lot of variability and let's call it variance in the how, in the quality, so much so that there was even a Harvard Business Review article called The Wild West of Executive Coaching, right? So the AIIR method, solves for a lot of things in terms of quality and rigor. But what I felt was really important, particularly in that context in 2009, was having a structured process that is rigorous and grounded in the behavioral sciences and has a beginning, middle, and end, right? But importantly, that I could train our coaches on without suppressing their own unique orientation and capabilities and their own individual expertise as an executive coach. And so the AIIR method is sort of broad enough as a process and a methodology that it creates uniformity across a large bench of coaches, but it allows for the individuality and the uniqueness of each of our coaches at AIIR to really shine. So we have, it's been 17 years since
That's a long
we
time.
brought
No?
that out. Yeah. And clients like the fact that there's some order and structure to something that is otherwise somewhat ambiguous and vague.
And hard to grasp for many, no? What coaching really is this kind of like magic thing or not? But I love that you keep the uniqueness, because now that we enter the era of AI, we realize how important that uniqueness is, the human uniqueness also in the process, because we don't want them to act robotic either, the humans in the picture.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely not. Yes.
So where does AI now fit into the AIR model?
Well, AI has a couple of important sort of manifestations within the work we do at AIR in our executive coaching practice. So for one, it is integrated into our coaching zone technology stack. Coaching zone is what connects the coach and coachee in a confidential space that they use, both during and in between sessions. It also is sort of the operational backbone, if you will, within the organization. So we organize our engagements, we launch engagements, our operations team, and from an internal standpoint, we use AI for coach matching, for example. It takes the first pass, if you will, when we're looking at our 200 plus executive coach bench. It's able to give us a really good first pass on the top 5 coaches that would be recommended for a specific type of engagement based on our algorithm, and not just algorithm, based on AI's decision making, as a function of the instructions we've given it. And then, of course, there's a lot of human judgment that goes into the second phase. As far as our actual executive coaching itself with our clients, we have something called Aeron, which is our AI digital coach assistant. And we're very intentional about that name, AI digital coach assistant, because it is not a standalone coach. So we are not proponents. We don't believe necessarily that we should go out and get an AI coach and not involve humans. But we do believe that there's a 1 + 1 = 3 in human coaching, AI coaching, and the outcome, if the synthesis of the human coaching and AI coaching is done well, that outcome could be even more powerful than human alone, and certainly AI alone, right? And so Aeron will do things particularly useful, I would say, in between human coaching sessions. So if I'm a coachee, I can go log into the coaching zone and I can use Aeron to deepen my understanding or insight around my development plan goals. I could ask it to, let's go to the gym. Like, give me some exercises I can work on in between my human coaching sessions relative to the strategic development plan goals that the individual has committed to with their human executive coach. So that's been a really useful tool. We also have an AI assessment feedback debriefer called Meridian that we just rolled out. And Meridian is able to it sort of ingests assessment data, our own proprietary assessment tools, but we're also training it on other third-party tools, so that imagine you've gone through an assessment experience. You can, and we recommend and encourage having a human coaching feedback session, but is that super scalable? Not for everyone, right? And so this is an opportunity right out of the gates, right after you've taken your assessments, to start to deepen your understanding of data that would otherwise be, pretty technical and obscure. So we're really excited about Meridian, both as a standalone, but also in the context of the complementarity of human coach and AI. And then the last area that we really are benefiting is just in terms of what we can do as coaches. As a coach, right? assuming, you've gotten the permission of your coachee and you're using tools responsibly, you can record a session and have a transcript, and then use that transcript to create a summary coaching note, to really use it as a reflection tool after an engagement, to use that summary note and further, ask AI to help give me some resources that I can share with my coachee in between now and the next session. And so whether it's summary notes or resource sharing, thematic analyses is also, really valuable. Like imagine you have 5 sessions and you have 5 summary notes. You could have AI do a thematic analysis of that qualitative data. You can have AI do a thematic analysis of interview data, of course. So like an interview-based 360. And so all of these things can save the coach a whole lot of time, that's for sure. There is a cost to that, of course, which is if I'm just delegating all of my all these things that used to require tons of human cognitive work to AI, then there's going to be certain parts of my brain that atrophy, right? Because I'm not using it anymore. I've delegated to AI. So it only really is going to work if somehow you're delegating and saving that time, but then you're using that time back to become even smarter and even more high impact with your coaching. If you're using it just to save time, my hypothesis is that we're going to become, increasingly dumber.
Do you have anything that encourages then the coach to use that time to become smarter?
We're in such a infancy stage of using AI as coaches. We're all trying to get it figured out. And we've given some preliminary, I should say, guidance. But really, I think ultimately, this will be like just like you see ICF accredited, coach trainings and supervision trainings. I think there's going to be a body of training around how to use AI effectively to become an even better coach, not just a more efficient coach, but to become an even better coach. And I don't see that necessarily as a mature body right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we founded Viva la Coaching, because we wanted to bring that into the industry, because it's not happening. It's not happening fast enough.
Well, there are some pioneers. It's a very short list, and you guys are right at the top, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I hope it's going to take off a little bit more. We're trying to push very hard on that, because learning how to use AI also to the benefit to the client is crucial for the future. And is there anything that you do on the client side so they benefit more through AI?
Well, the client is certainly a beneficiary of the coach's use of AI. When you say client, you mean like the organization itself or the individual?
The individual coachee. Yeah.
Yeah. So the individual coachee is, has access to Aeron. That's really probably the number one benefit they're experiencing, using AI vis-a-vis their AIR coach, right? They'll have access to this digital coach. So when you're working with AIR, you're getting kind of like a team of coaches, a human and an AI. It is, it's interesting, and this, Rebecca. Like when we created Aeron, it was literally like a few weeks when we launched it. It was like a few weeks before ChatGPT came out. And so we were using, retrieval-based AI rather than generative AI. And then, we played catch up and sort of rebuilt Aeron, using a generative AI backbone. And now, of course, everybody's talking about agentic AI, right? And agents. And so I think that brings like a whole that's like a whole nother world of value proposition. There's just a lot of opportunity there, because with agentic AI, it doesn't need you. It's not dependent on you just entering in something in a chat window or even speaking into it. It can prompt you. It can engage autonomously, independent of whether you want to use it or not, right? So that becomes really compelling, and we're excited to explore the implications of that.
You probably have a whole Aeron family soon, running around there on their own at some point.
He might get a brother, or we might just supercharge him, right?
So where do you see the biggest opportunity in integrating AI, hopefully very thoughtfully, into executive coaching?
Yeah, I mean, when I look forward, it's really the agentic AI. AIR stands for Assessment, Insight, Implementation, Reinforcement. It's a behavioral change method, right? It's designed to help people not only change but sustain that change over the long term. And the hardest part of our job as executive coaches is it's actually not change; it's sustaining that change over the long term. So having agentic AI proactively nudge, remind, and be present for the coachee, knowing that a human, it's just, they can do that and they should do that. But it's not going to, a human will never have the capacity and that AI will have in terms of its, ability to anytime, 24/7 add value. Right. So I'm really excited about what agentic AI will bring, and I think you'll see a whole new wave of innovation coming to market, in the AI coaching space and also in traditional coaching firms that are taking risk and innovating to build augmented technology that enhances the human coaching experience.
So you must have been very excited when you saw the latest research from Nikki and some of our teams here as well coming out on cognitive behavior therapy or coaching working best in AI chatbots as well.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that. And I'm a huge fan of CBT, even though I was trained in every orientation, but not every orientation, but all of the classical orientations in clinical psychology, and CBT being a very, very important one. I do believe there's a lot of merit to integrating other orientations as well, but CBT is obviously incredibly effective, and it was neat to see that validated in the research.
Yeah, and it was a big and hard one to do. But if we look at this behavioral change and how important that is, also now moving forward, I mean, behavior change is the hardest thing to do. We all know about this. So if you look at the challenges that leaders are facing at the moment and dealing with in the current hype around AI, where do you see the biggest challenge for them?
Yeah, like leadership is actualizing a clear and compelling vision through others, right? That's the definition of leadership at AIR, at least. To do that effectively, you have to have a clear vision to get others to do, right?
Maybe also your AI teams.
Right. And so the challenge right now for a lot of leaders is that clarity piece, because the pace of change is so high frequency, if not constant at this point. What was true yesterday may be different today, right? And that's a really hard, when everything's constantly moving under your feet. It's hard to be grounded as an individual, right? Like the leader themselves, right? So resilience being an incredibly important skill right now, but it's also, obviously very hard to help others stay grounded and focused and motivated and inspired when there's so much change and noise going on, right? And so that's probably the number one challenge right now, is how do you bring clarity as a leader when there's so much uncertainty? The other thing that is, I would say, pretty challenging is, it's more practical in that, a leader might go all in on an AI sort of solution and then realize that like 6 months after they've rolled it out within their company, like something else came along, and that wasn't just incremental, like that literally is paradigm changing. And then you sort of have to like go back and scrap what you did, or try to reintegrate something new. And so that's like just practically a challenge right now. And I know AI developers and teams, I thought software developers were working really hard. When I see people developing AI, it's like a 7-day-a-week, job, because that's just how quickly and ferociously the innovation curve is growing in the AI space.
And it's just going to get faster from now. No?
Well, when AI starts building itself, right? Then it's
what it already does,
which it already does. Then your only limiter is compute, and then the limiter to compute would be energy, I guess, right? So it is like unprecedented time, right? When AI can build itself, that takes us into a whole nother dimension of innovation.
One concept, and I have a son on the autism spectrum, but one concept I learned there that I try to apply now also into my AI world is radical acceptance. It's hard to live in these times of uncertainty. And I think radical acceptance is one of the things. There's nothing we can do about it, but I love your grounded, staying grounded idea. And I think that's one of the things that really will help us maybe through this. Do you have a tip maybe for the audience on how you stay grounded or how they could stay grounded, maybe learning from you?
Yes, I do actually. Well, there's two tips. One is, in terms of the AI, nobody wants to be left behind. Everybody realizes this is an incredibly high stakes moment in time. Like if you don't do this or you don't get it right, like you could be left behind. Like your competition could leapfrog you. Your whole sort of business model or industry could be at risk, right? So there's a lot of high stakes right now, and so leaders are really pushing hard, like AI. We got to use it. We got to go full throttle into it. And one thing I just want to encourage, I don't want to discourage that urgency. I think that urgency is really important, actually, but we do need to slow down to speed up. Like AI for what? Like what are we solving for? What is our vision? What's our meta vision for how this is going to create value? So I think that's really important to do that strategy work and create the space. And then practically speaking, just in terms of self-management, self-leadership, like you have leading self, leading others, leading the organization. Leading self is one of the three big pillars or legs of the stool. Very important to breathe. Right. So I've actually gotten very into like somatic breathing exercises to just stay regulated, because the whole world is just so like, it just feels like you're in the deep end of a wave pool. Right. It's important to find ways to stay regulated and clear-headed, and breathing, practically speaking, is a very, very, intentional breathing, I would say, a very important strategy.
And that's something you can even do in between meetings.
Yep. And you don't need AI for that.
You don't need to go to the gym and make an effort.
That's just, you just got to focus and set your timer for 5 minutes.
I love it. No, that's very nice. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I think with this great tip, I think we can end the episode for today. And thank you so much for joining me for this interview, sharing your wisdom, your grounded tips. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in New York.
Great. I'm looking forward to, Rebecca. And thanks so much for having me on your podcast.
Jonathan said something I haven't been able to shake. If coaches use AI simply to save time, without using that time to actually grow, his hypothesis is that we'll become increasingly dumb. So here's the question I want to leave you with. What are you doing with the time AI is giving back to you? If today's conversation has you thinking, and you want to be in the room where these conversations happen in real life, there's still time to join us at the 5th Annual NYU Coaching and Technology Summit in New York. This year's theme is coaching at organizational scale. And it's exactly the kind of question this podcast was built around. We'll be at the Kimmel Center at NYU in New York City the 15th and 16th of June. Come and be part of it, and you'll find the link in the show notes at theedgeofhumanandai.com. That's it for today's episode of The Edge of Human and AI, a Viva la Coaching podcast. If this conversation opens something up for you, the best thing you can do is share it. Send it to a colleague, a client, a fellow coach, anyone who's asking the same questions you are. The more of us standing at this edge, the better the conversation gets. Follow us on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And come find us at vivalacoaching.com, where you'll find resources, community, and conversations you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back next week with another voice from the edge. Until then, come stand with us at the edge.